What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Totally Unqualified podcast. This is episode 35. We're at the KD number, or I guess he's 7 now, but nonetheless, we got a great episode for you guys. And of course, I'm joined, as always, by my two lovely co-hosts. Gage, I'm going to start with you. We have Gage and Jake, but Gage, I'm going to start with you. How are you doing, one? And two, how is that Packers-Seahawks game?
I'm doing great. Unfortunately, back to reality. I did have to go to work today after being off for like 5 days in a row. So that's a bit of a shell shock. But as far as the trip goes, I mean, it was awesome. I had a great time where we were staying. That's where, Luke, I know you saw the pictures of like the lighthouse and stuff. It was gorgeous. I had a great time, checking that out. And then as far as the game itself in Green Bay, like, obviously, I mean, it's well known that Green Bay isn't like some massive city or anything like that. It's not a huge market, but of all of the places I've been, as far as going to football games now, which include Charlotte, North Carolina, the Panthers, Baltimore, Nashville, and then now Green Bay does it right. Like, that was just a whole other experience. They are a 100% football town, and it was wild seeing that. Like, every other game I've gone to, there's a good mix of fans. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you have more of the home crowd. The entire time I was there, I maybe saw 10 Seahawks fans.
Yeah,
it was just a sea of green and yellow. It was insane.
I mean, that's all that they have there is football in the North Country there.
Football, Jake, beer, and cheese.
And basketball. Their team just won Milwaukee. The NBA championship. Can't forget about that.
True.
I'm doing great. Some people might be wondering why I'm wearing a hockey hat on this podcast, even though I don't think we've ever mentioned hockey on this podcast. I don't think so either. Because the Rangers are the only team I have right now. That's basically Knicks are slipping a little bit. They did pull out the win against Indiana last night. Thank God. But you know what? The Rangers are looking mighty fine right now. So no complaints about that. So I'm going to be repping the one team that is bringing me happiness at the moment. But other than that, I'm great. That's to answer your question. I'm doing phenomenal.
What about the Knicks? What happened to Bing Bong? Come on.
Bing Bong has gone a little bong bing. It's flipped a little bit. I don't know what's going on there, but a little bit, I'd rather us face adversity early in the season. Than as opposed to later in the season. If we're going to get into this, just quick
to play.
Yeah, as we're going to just quick 30-second analysis, we can't shoot. Like we have two shooters on the team, Evan Fournier and Emmanuel Quickly. Other than that, like every time we're losing and I'm not watching the game, I'll check the stats. Julius Randle 1 for 8 on threes. Like Obi Toppin is not playing for some reason. Obi Toppin's playing great this year. RJ Barrett 1 for 9 on 3. Like that's always the stat line when they're losing. It's just they're bricking everything. So
RJ Barrett is killing me in fantasy, by the way. Like,
I'm so sorry, Gage.
I'll check the stats and it's like -5. It's like, come on, bro.
We got some streaky shooters out in the garden, eh?
They do. That's our one downfall. If anything's going to kill us, it's going to be the shooting.
And like I alluded to earlier, guys, we have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about some overreactions or not. Going to be discussing some topics that might be getting overreacted to or not, as well as our week 10 takeaways. And then we're going to talk about sign or decline some upcoming free agents that may or may not be with their teams next season. And then, of course, give our analysis on this Thursday night's matchup between the Falcons and the Patriots. Cannot wait for that one. Shoot me. All right, guys, before we get into the episode, though, I have a major announcement today to make. So I've recently made an investment.
Oh, geez. In Dogecoin?
Not Dogecoin. So last week I did invest in the Aaron Rodgers dollar, and I decided I needed to take it up a step. So
please tell me you didn't buy an Aaron Rodgers PSA 10 rookie card.
I did not.
Okay, that's like thousands of dollars.
When you call me, when you say my name, make sure to put Green Bay Packers owner in front of me.
Oh my gosh.
I am officially an owner of the Green Bay Packers. Spent $335 today on a piece of paper.
Stop.
On a piece of paper. For a piece of paper. And I know full-heartedly it is a scam. I understand.
Completely a scam.
But my love for this team, for this organization, knows no bounds. I will go to any lengths for this squad. And now I am invested financially into this team, as if I wasn't already. I run the Green Bay Packers now. We're going to be getting some free agents, boys.
Yeah.
I got some pull over here. Come on.
You know what?
Thank you. Thank you.
So did you just buy a single share of the Green Bay Packers? Is that
I
what
bought a
happened?
single share of the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Shares went on sale today, first time since 2010,
Yeah,
because the Green Bay Packers do not have an owner, and they are owned by means like this, like asking your fans to pay $300 for a piece of paper.
They're the only public. They're the only publicly traded sports franchise.
Yep.
Did they have an owner at some point?
I don't believe so. I think it's always been like this.
So how did they?
They were one of the first franchises, so they've always just been owned by the organization.
Public.
Yeah, that's weird. I guess the city of Green Bay bought a team in the NFL. Like, it wasn't much back then. Like, it wasn't a crazy amount. So I guess that's how that went. That's so weird. That's so weird how that went. So you own a single share of the Green Bay Packers. Do you get like?
You don't get any special features.
Dividends?
You don't get any dividends. You don't get any like special discounts in the store.
So this is literally just. So this is literally just to say that you own a share of the Green Bay Packers.
He donated $335 to the Green
That's
Bay
exactly
Packers.
what you did. You donated $300 to the Green Bay Packers. That's what
I like to think that it's going to go towards Davante Adams' contract personally. But I don't know where the money's going.
Davante Adams' contract will come out averaging $17,335 a year. So that will be Luke's little contribution to his contract.
Davante, you gotta don't be that guy, man. Sell cheap. All right. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave us a review. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to leave us a like. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to put notifications on, all that jazz. Now, we need to get to that Guess That Player. We've been recording this forever now. This is going to be one of those where I'm going to have you guys ask me the questions. I'm going to give you guys 2 hints, though, and that is all. All right?
You're not going to give me the college, are you?
I'm not going to give you the college.
Damn it.
All right. He was drafted in 2012 and has not played since 2018.
Damn it.
Jake, if you want to ask a question. If you want to ask a question first.
Damn, I thought I had it with Andrew Luck. Fuck.
Or Gage, whoever wants to spin one out.
RG3.
No.
Damn it.
Drafted in 2012, hasn't played since 2018.
That was a great draft class too, so I'm trying to think through it. I don't even want to ask questions. Just
Blake Bortles.
No.
Blake Bortles was 14.
Well. Yeah, we should probably ask questions on Sunday.
Yeah, we should ask questions. Yeah. Were they offense or defense?
Offensive player.
Damn it. And luck. Fuck.
AFC or NFC? Their last team, I guess.
Their last team?
Yeah.
That's AFC.
Okay.
Were they a first round pick?
No.
Well, that's fucking hard, man.
Absolutely. No, actually, sorry. Yes. Sorry. I was looking at the wrong thing. They were a first round pick. 2012.
Gage, you got anything? I got nothing.
AFC North?
No. If I'm going to be honest, that question hurt you more than it helped you there.
Okay.
So
the North question or the
question previous to his last team, predominantly known for NFC team. I'll give you that.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. What?
Man.
Was he a starter?
He was a starter.
Okay. Skill position?
Skill position.
Okay. The team that he was drafted by was NFC.
Yes.
Okay.
Played for that NFC team for 6 years before moving on to the AFC team and has not been in the league ever since. 2-time Pro Bowler.
Clay Matthews.
No,
Clay Matthews was earlier.
You guys got to start asking better some questions here. Let's whittle it down,
ahead, Jake.
Bro, I'm so. Can you give me the college, please?
No, absolutely not.
Did they play
Absolutely
in the
not.
SEC?
No.
Okay, that actually. Hold
on. Offense. Oh, you said offensive player, and I guessed a defensive player. Like
skill
an
position.
idiot.
It's a skill position.
And it's a skill position.
Two-time Pro Bowler, NFC predominantly, 2012. I'm going through the 2012 draft.
Is it a receiver?
Not a receiver, running back.
Okay, so it's a running back.
It's a running back.
2012. Who were the running backs?
Drafted 31st overall.
2018.
31st overall. Bro, David Wilson. No, not David Wilson.
Made a Pro Bowl and first team All-Pro in 2015.
Devontae Freeman.
Not Devontae Freeman.
Oh,
he's playing this year. Pro Bowl and first team.
Jonathan Stewart.
No.
Damn it.
I didn't think this one would stump you guys.
Oh my God. Okay, draft.
The last team he played for was the Oakland Raiders.
Darren McFadden?
No. Wow.
DeMarco Murray.
No. He has a notable nickname.
A notable nickname.
It's not. No.
I might have to give up the college.
No.
You just wanted me to. What?
I'm so close. First team All-Pro in 2015. Who were the standout running backs in 2015? 2015 was Cam Newton MVP year. Oh, I got to piece this together.
He's only had 2 1,000-yard seasons in his career, and those 2,000-yard seasons he had over 1,400 rushing yards.
Doug Martin.
Yep.
Damn it,
baby. Let's go.
It is.
Oh,
Let's go, Gage. Let's get back in these standings. Come on.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Doug
damn,
Martin.
that was good. That was good. I forgot Doug Martin.
Boise State.
Yeah, I was like,
That wouldn't have helped me. That's one of those rare cases that wouldn't have helped me.
I was going through like somewhat recent Raiders running backs in my head, and then I got to him, and I couldn't think of his name right away, but I knew that he played for the Bucs forever.
I forgot.
Muscle hamster, guys.
Yes, sir.
God,
He used to
Muscle
be a
Raiders.
fantasy beast.
For 2 years, he was a fantasy beast.
Yeah.
And it
that's
was,
2015 season.
It was the hamster cheeks. The hamster cheeks.
Yo, almost 1,700 scrimmage yards in 2015.
And he
Jeez.
just dropped. He had 2 years, and he just dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah,
That was his contract year.
His
That
rookie
was
year.
his
He
contract year. I remember that in 2015.
I think injuries kind of
injuries.
messed him up.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the first segment, boys.
That was a good one. That was a tough one. Damn.
I'm glad.
Damn, we needed that.
picked a good
Though.
player.
I needed that. I need to be humbled.
My friend wanted me to go with Andrew Wiggins, and I'm glad I didn't go with
I would
Andrew
have gotten
Wiggins.
Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, I thought
we-
that was too easy.
Yeah. As soon as you would have said Kansas, I would have gotten Andrew Wiggins.
All right, guys, let's move into our first topic of the day. Week 10 had a lot of crazy things going on. All right, so I'm going to list you guys off a few talking points, and you're going to tell me if it's an overreaction or not. Gage, we're going to start with you after I say the first one. You ready?
I'm ready.
Order is restored in the AFC. The Chiefs are at the top of the throne and are the top dogs once again in the AFC. Overreaction or not?
Oh, that's a tough one. I've been mulling over this like since Sunday. I'm going to say overreaction because even though obviously a big win over the Raiders is a big thing for them, I think that I'm just not quite sold yet. That defense is still rough. They've been playing a little bit better, but I still don't think they have it quite figured out.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. I mean, when you say order is restored, like, what does that mean?
That means that they're back on top again.
Oh, they're back on top of the AFC.
Yeah.
Like they figured it out.
Overreaction. They are.
Overreaction.
I think they somewhat figured it out.
Mhm.
I do. Because Patrick Mahomes played significantly better in that game than he has all year. The team as a whole played better in that game as a whole. So I think they figured it out, and I think they're back to being a good team again. But the Bills are the best team in this conference for my money. Like that's like, I do not think the Chiefs are better than the Bills right now. I don't think. No, I do think they're better than the Titans right now. But no, they're not better than Bills. They're absolutely not better than the Bills. So I'm going to say overreaction.
I am going to agree with you, Jake. I also think this is an overreaction. Defense, they had a good game against Derek Carr and a game that they really needed to get back in the thick of it in the AFC rankings. But teams that have beaten them are ahead of them in the AFC, the Bills. I mean, you look at the Ravens, although the Ravens are coming off a loss, and we're going to get to that pretty soon. I still would take the Ravens over the Chiefs right now. Titans, I'm worried about because I think their offense is too predicated on Derrick Henry, and they're still trying to rough some edges out, especially these past couple weeks now that they're getting used to life without him. So I think there's still some teams that are better than the Chiefs as we speak right now. But that's not going to be the same moving forward in the season. I think the Chiefs are only going to get better as the season goes along. As we move to our second one. All right, Jake, I'm going to start with you. Lamar Jackson. He's lost his MVP case following the 22-10 loss to the Miami Dolphins. Overreaction or not?
I'm going to say that's an overreaction because listen, I think we all agree that Josh Allen is firmly in the MVP race. He just lost a terrible game to the Jaguars. Mm-hmm. That was awful. Yeah. Did Lamar not play well in that game? Absolutely. And I looked like shit because I said I'm not picking against Lamar for the rest of the season. And then look what happens on Thursday Night Football. Weird shit. But yeah, I think that's absolutely an overreaction. If Lamar goes on to bring this team to the playoffs and just dominates every game from now on, like obviously he's going to be in the MVP conversation. So I definitely think that's an overreaction.
I would have to say that that's an overreaction as well. And I think that that has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of the other top MVP candidates right now either are not playing like Kyler Murray or have been playing poorly. Tom Brady throws another couple interceptions this week. Matthew Stafford throws another couple interceptions this week. So because he wasn't the only quarterback that suffered kind of a big loss and played, pretty poorly for the most part, I think that he's definitely still in that conversation.
I am in complete agreement with you, Gage. Clean sweep around here. I think a lot of the MVP candidates, like you said, just had off weeks, past couple weeks, honestly. Tom Brady with a rough loss to the Washington football team. Like you said, Josh Allen just had a 9-6 loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, where they were favored by double-digit points to win. And even Kyler Murray, they're winning without him one week, and then maybe next week they don't look as hot. So I think a lot of these MVP candidates sort of hurt their case the past couple of weeks. And I don't think there's really been one single guy to, set himself apart from the others. So I think it's wide.
Matt Stafford too, Matt Stafford last night against the 49ers. Yeah. Also, I think there has been one clear-cut MVP candidate this year. And I think that's
Sam Darnold.
No, giving up on that. I honestly think if you're going to pick who's the best player in the NFL all year, it's Cooper Kupp. It's been Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. Listen, I won't hate on that because I love when we show wide receivers love and MVP candidates aren't just quarterbacks. But I don't know. I think Matt Stafford over him.
Wouldn't it be wild if the guy, I think he's on pace to, he's breaking so many records this year. Wouldn't it be wild if the guy to finally break the 2,000 yard receiving mark is this random ass 4th round slot wide receiver from Eastern Washington that everybody is who the hell is this guy? That would be funny to me.
Yeah. He's on pace for 2,000, right? Is he still on pace for 2K?
For it. I think he's on pace for it.
That is wild. All right. As we move on to our third topic, Gage, you're going to start us off. The Patriots are serious contenders to win the AFC East. Overreaction or not?
To win the AFC East?
AFC East.
I'm going to say that's not an overreaction. The Bills obviously have, and I said this, I think last week as my takeaway, that I think the AFC East is still open because the Bills are just a little bit inconsistent for me. The defense is playing really well, but their offense is a little bit, sporadic. The Patriots are hitting their stride at the right time. I think we're about mid-season. And if they continue it with, some easy games they have coming up, I think that they could definitely step right into that conversation and potentially leapfrog the Bills. But I did want to say, I'm glad you brought it up because I did have something that I wanted to say about the Patriots. I think everybody should just take a little step back from them right now. I know that they're getting hot, but, if you look at their wins, the Texans, the Jets twice, their schedule has been favorable. They beat the Browns by a large margin, which looks very good, but some of their wins are just a little bit iffy for me still.
The Chargers too.
Yeah, but the Chargers, I think, are kind of starting to
They're
slip
slipping
as
a little
far
bit.
as
Yeah, they're slipping a little bit. I am actually going to say not an overreaction as well. But I am kind of going all in on the Patriots right now because it's Bill Belichick, man. Like I was saying this at the beginning of the year and I kind of slipped up on it. Actually, did I? I think one of you gave up on it and said that the Patriots were a bad team.
That was me. That was me.
Luke. Okay.
I'm going to own up to that in a second.
Okay. Yeah. I held strong to the fact that I'm like Bill Belichick. People were starting to, take Bill Belichick off that pedestal as the greatest coach of all time. They're like, it was Tom Brady. We proved it. It was Tom Brady all these years. And it's like, no, like it was Bill Belichick. It was just the greatest combination of quarterback and coach ever. But yeah, he's got this team rolling. The defense has been that exclamation point. The defense has really taken a turn. They started playing really, really well. Like we all know, Bill Belichick defenses are made to play. And Mac Jones, man, Mac Jones is the real deal. He is by far the best quarterback in this class at this point, and I don't even think it's relatively close. He's got a nice gap between him and the next guy. But yeah, I think this Patriots team is for real, and I think that the Bills have shown they could slip up a couple times. So, even though I said they're the best team in the AFC, which I fully believe, I think they're the best team in the AFC. I think they're the favorite to come out of the AFC and go to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're impenetrable. They can slip up, and if they slip up, Patriots are going to be right there.
Yeah, the Bills play down to their competition, no doubt. Yeah. I am going to agree with you guys. We got another clean sweep. I don't think this is an overreaction. The Patriots are slowly creeping up. Guys, ever since their week 3 loss to the Saints, they had a really, really close game against the Bucs in which they lost 19-17. But really, for majority of that game, Mac Jones outplayed Tom Brady, and I don't want to hear it. They squeeze by the Texans, and then they lose a sort of a fluky game to the Cowboys. Okay, 2 games they lost, they could have easily won. They blow out the Jets. They hold the Chargers to 24, beat them on the road. They hold the Panthers to 6, and now they hold the Browns to 7 and blow them out. So this team is hitting their stride really over like the last 7 games. They have the Falcons coming up on Thursday, which we'll get to later. But after that, they have a really tough 4-game stretch. They got the Titans, they have the Bills, they have the Colts, and then they have the Bills again. And then they end the season with the Jaguars and the Dolphins. So I think the door is open. Especially with the games against the Bills. I mean, they're only 1 game out. So these 2 games are really going to be what decides the AFC East, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm not ruling them out. I'm not going to rule Bill Belichick out. If there's one thing you don't do is you don't rule that guy out. So yeah, I think the door is open for the Patriots to really just come in and upset the Bills. All right. And the last one, Jake, I'm going to start with you. Odell Beckham Jr. had a subpar debut in his first game as a Los Angeles Ram. OBJ will not be a suitable replacement for one Robert Woods, who is going to be out for the season with a torn ACL. Overreaction or not?
It's tough. I'm going to go overreaction. I mean, if you look at every receiver in that game, they all played terribly. I mean, they were dropping everything. The whole team had a bad game against the 49ers. So I'm definitely going to say overreaction. He was in that building for 2 days before this game. Like, you got to give him a little bit more time. If he's still looking like this in 3-4 weeks, then we can get into that conversation. But I can't imagine that Sean McVay with Matt Stafford and just that prolific offense that OBJ is not going to have a suitable role and be absolutely just fine in that offense. So I'm definitely going to say overreaction. I think we need to give him some time.
I think it's an overreaction as well. He, like Jake said, I mean, you put it perfectly. He was only on the team for a couple days prior to the game even happening, and he gets suited up. And I think that game was derailed from the beginning. You look at that early interception from Matt Stafford. He's trying to force it to OBJ downfield, and there's 2 defenders there. He overthrows them, and it gets picked off. And I don't know what it is, but Kyle Shanahan just has Sean McVay's number. Like, he knows. He's game plans for him perfectly every time, it seems like. I think he's got a streak going against the Rams right now, and it's just crazy. I mean, he beats him every time.
I I do think this is no, I don't think this is an overreaction. I think this is legit. All right. When you look at Robert Woods and his tenure with the Rams, he is as consistent as it comes. So when you say suitable replacement, in my opinion, that means you're going to be just as good in that role. And I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. is that guy right now. I mean, you're talking about a 1,200-yard season in 2018, 1,100-yard season last year, and then it was 70 yards away from having another third straight 1,000-yard season last year. So you're talking about like big production, 6 touchdowns in these seasons as well, in all of them. So can Odell Beckham Jr. provide that for you right now? He sure has not shown that he could in his tenure with Cleveland. I think right now, Odell Beckham Jr., I feel like he's a little bit more glamorous than he is that guy, if that makes sense. Like he's more of a bigger name than he is a better player. Now that he has the spotlight on himself in La La Land in Los Angeles. That's, by the way, I think it feels right that Odell is in Los Angeles. He feels like, an LA guy. I just don't think he's going to be a suitable replacement in that role because Robert Woods, I mean, other than Cooper Kupp, he's the other guy that they go to. And with just the lack of chemistry there, he played in Cleveland for 2 years and couldn't develop chemistry with Baker Mayfield. So I don't think he's going to be able to develop it with Matt Stafford in only a few weeks. So no, I don't think it's going to be a suitable replacement.
I agree with that to an extent. I think that the chemistry could definitely be the biggest issue if there's an issue at all. In a short time period. I mean, we're halfway through the season and you've got a guy that gets injured that's going to be out the remainder of the season that had already built chemistry with Matt Stafford all off season and then through the first half of the season. And then you've got another guy that's coming in and trying to find his footing. But I do think that Matt Stafford, he's a vet. He's a leader. I think that, he came in and built the rapport that he has with Cooper Kupp over just the off season and everything. And I think that he and OBJ will get some things figured out. I still like it as an overreaction. I think Odell will be fine, but I do think if there are issues, it's for all the reasons as you're saying, that it'll be because of chemistry and stuff like that.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy that Odell had the best chemistry of his career with Eli fucking Manning? Like that. Love it. Wild.
They had great chemistry on the dance floor too. You guys remember that commercial?
Oh yeah,
greatest
commercial of all time.
All time. All right, guys, let's get into our week 10 takeaways. There were obviously some crazy upsets that happened this week. Gage, I'm going to start with you. Let's go one by one and we'll go down the row. Only going to have 2 for you guys this week. Gage, start us off.
You guys may wish that you hadn't started with me. Jake, I think, is going to especially wish that you hadn't started with me. Deebo Samuel is a better receiver than DK Metcalf.
All right.
I genuinely, like, obviously the stats over the last few seasons would favor DK Metcalf more so. But when you consider that Deebo Samuel has had both Jimmy Garoppolo and Nick Mullins throwing to him, I think that plays into it a bit. But as far as what Deebo Samuel has been able to do in this offense this season, he obviously has a lot of weapons at his disposal as far as his run after the catch ability. I think that he's extremely versatile. And for me personally, if I'm building an offense, I think that I'm taking Deebo Samuel over DK Metcalf every time personally.
I do not agree with that.
Really?
I'm not saying, and that's nothing against Deebo. I think Deebo is a phenomenal wide receiver.
Yeah.
I just think he's got a wizard as his head coach, offensive coordinator. He's just schemed up better. He's just used better. That's my thing with Deebo. But he's a great receiver. They're both great receivers. It sucks when people we're in a day and age where everybody wants to compare people. There can't just be 2 great people. It has to be which one's better. And it's like, well, it's like when everybody asks who's better, Terry or DK. It's like they're 2 completely different receivers.
All last season.
Two completely. Terry is a route runner. DK is a speedster / can go up and get a guy. Like 2 completely different skill sets. But anyway, I digress. Listen, as much as I don't agree with that, it's not a wild take. I'll say that. It's not Sam Darnold for MVP crazy. But yeah, my I'm going to start with this takeaway. Actually, I don't really have them in order. I think Mike Vrabel is coach of the year. Just losing Derrick Henry, and I know the Saints aren't in the best situation either, but losing Derrick Henry, who was just basically this entire offense. Like, let's be real with ourselves. Like this Derrick Henry was this entire offense, arguably just the best player in the league. Like, you could actually make an argument for that. And he has coached his team to the top of the AFC. They are 8-2. They're on a 6-game win streak, I believe. Just wild. The amount of wrenches that have been thrown to this team, Julio not always being healthy, AJ having a slow start to the season, being injured, Derrick Henry getting injured for the first time in his entire career, the offensive line, Terrell Lewan not having the best season. All these things, Ryan Tannehill not playing up to the level that he's played the last couple of years. All of these things. And he has still coached this team to be 8-2. This team has that next man up mentality. They're finding ways to win, and that solely comes from the coach. This team could have lost all of their morale after Derrick Henry went down. Like, they could have called it quits, and really nobody would have blamed them. Nobody would have blamed them for being like, yeah, I mean, I get it why, you don't think you're going to win with the offensive player of the year, possibly the guy that was going to be the first person ever to go for over 2,000 yards back-to-back seasons. Like, it would make sense. Nobody would blame them for kind of throwing in the towel. They didn't. They're still like, no, we're going to go out there, we're going to compete, and we're going to fucking win. We're going to try and win these games. And the defense is playing better. It's almost like a ragtag group of misfits at this point that's winning these games, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Kevin Byard's had a great season. Can't say enough good things about him. Jeffrey Simmons on the D line. I mean, just these players that are not household names, but are just stepping up for this team. You can't say enough good things about it. I said Mike Vrabel is one of the most underrated coaches in the NFL for years and years now. I say that like it's been a decade. He's been a coach for like 4 years. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think Mike Vrabel is the coach of the year at this point in the season.
I mean, you can't really get better than that. I will argue though. I still think I'm going to roll with John Harbaugh. I know that they just had a rough loss to Miami, but I think just being as competitive as they are with the amount of injuries that they're sustaining, and they just don't stop either. They don't stop at all. Derek Wolfe today is going to be going on injured reserve. I mean, Deshaun Elliott, Malik Harrison, Ronnie Stanley, Marcus Peters, Gus Edwards. They're literally all of their running backs.
J.K. Dobbins,
yeah, J.K. Dobbins. I'd still put John Harbaugh number one, but I mean, you can't really get better than Mike Vrabel. There's no wrong answer there, I think.
No.
But
no, yeah. I think between Mike Vrabel, Sean McDermott, and John Harbaugh, like if you're picking between any one of those guys for coach of the year, I think they all got a case.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur too. Yeah. Matt LaFleur.
Sure.
I mean,
how'd they do without Aaron? How'd they do without A-Rod? Not great. Okay.
Hey, they held Patty. They held Patty Mahomes to his worst game ever. That's what they did.
I was throwing my hat out there for Sean Payton for coach of the year, considering our injuries and everything, but with back-to-back losses and the way things are heading, it looks less likely that that'll happen. But I genuinely think if we can hold on to our playoff spot and, finish with a winning record and stuff like that, considering we're down to a third string quarterback and a group of wide receiver threes, pretty much like I've talked about over and over again, I think that Sean Payton has a legitimate case as well. But I don't hate the Mike Vrabel take. I think that he would definitely lead that, that he would lead the way right now for that award.
Yeah. All right. My first takeaway, guys. Through 10 weeks, no team has emerged as the definitive best team in football. No team. This is the first time in years that I can remember something like this happening. Every single team you could pick out like a fatal flaw that will lose them games every time. I mean, you look at the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their secondary is injured. They're putting nobodies out there, and their secondary wasn't the greatest to begin with. And now they're here dropping. They're on a 2-game losing streak. They just had their bye last week. I'm sure they're going to pick things up, but they are beatable. They are beatable. And Taylor Heineke, he has just I don't know what it is when he plays the Bucks, but man, that's a scary matchup for the Bucks every time. You look at the Bills; they play down to their competition. They just lost to the Jags 9-6. They lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers week 1 in a game where they were favored. You look at the Arizona Cardinals. They just have injuries on their front seven. They have injuries at the quarterback position. They have injuries at the wide receiver position. They are a strong coach team, but they've shown that they could be beat as well. Kyler Murray didn't have the greatest game against the Green Bay Packers a couple weeks ago. The Green Bay Packers have a flaw right now on offense, which is weird because last year they had historically one of the best offenses of the past decade. They can't really put up that many points. You're looking at all these top teams. The Chiefs, they don't have a great defense. The Ravens, they stall from time to time. There's no one team that has put themselves ahead of the others. It's like, yeah, that because you could try and do power rankings. You could pick a bunch of different teams. You pick the Titans. You could pick the Packers. Pick the Cardinals. There's no one team that pulls out in front of the other. And I thought it was going to be the Rams this week. I thought they were going to get a win over San Francisco and put themselves ahead. But I mean, Matt Stafford is on a cold streak. He showed that he could lose you some games just as much as he could win you some. So yeah, a weird year in the NFL to say the least.
I can't disagree with that. It's definitely been odd. I feel like right now you can put teams in groups, but you can't single anybody out.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously you know which teams are like the elite teams right now and stuff like that. You know which ones are the bottom of the barrel, but you don't have anybody that's like my stepdad asked me literally earlier today before we started recording. He was like, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year? And I was like, dude, I have not a fucking clue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No idea. I could not pick out a single team for you that I think could easily go all the way or anything like that. It's definitely up in the air, and it's going to be a crazy season as we start to wind down into the playoffs.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. You guys said it all. I mean, there's been nobody.
No one team. All right, Gage, you are up. What's your second takeaway?
My second takeaway is one of those teams that I think you could probably put into the elite tier, but have not been performing up to par to be able to say, hey, you guys can win the Super Bowl. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going out back-to-back weeks. Well, they had their bye in between, obviously, but going back back-to-back weeks, beating themselves genuinely. They are going out there and they are racking up penalties. They're making stupid decisions that are causing turnovers. Tom Brady threw 2 interceptions in the first quarter against the worst pass defense in the league right now, statistically, in the Washington football team. They just have to clean up their play. They're playing very sloppy football, and I think that genuinely they are the ones that are going out there and losing the game rather than the other team going out there and winning the game. I think that if they clean up their act, they'll definitely be one of those teams that we could pick out and be like, hey, these guys are going to go to the playoffs. They could make a run. They could definitely go back-to-back Super Bowls or whatever the case may be. But as of right now, they got a lot of stuff to fix.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, yeah. How many penalty yards do they have against Washington? It was over 100, right?
Crazy.
Yeah. I believe it was over 100 in this one. Against us, I believe it was just under 100, like 98 or something like that. So, I mean, if you're giving up all those yards, you're not even like, it's not even just giving up yards on defense. Like their secondary is out. Obviously they're beat up, banged up, but that's not even mattering because they're just giving the yards away.
Yeah. And I feel like it's sort of a tendency that you're seeing from really these Bruce Arians led teams. They don't always have, they're not always the most poised when it comes to penalties. But listen, they have to, there's no excuses for losing to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
There's none. They're absolutely not. Tom Brady didn't play his greatest game either. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah. Other than the Heine goat.
Yes.
Heine goat. Yes. Sponsored by Bud Light.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right. Getting to my other takeaway. I think the Patriots are for real. We discussed it earlier, so I'm not going to go crazy in depth here, but it's Bill Belichick, greatest coach of all time. Mac Jones was clearly the best quarterback to come out of this class, at least at this point. I know some people are going to get on me and be like, oh, Justin Fields or Trey Lance in a couple of years. But at this point, it is by far Mac Jones. He was easily, I guess he was the most NFL ready, to say the least, coming out of Bama. But I mean, this team is rolling. Defense is playing great football. The offense is coming into their own. Jacoby Myers finally caught his first touchdown in the NFL, which is wild that it took this long for him to catch it. I mean, it's really crazy that this team is doing it without really like a significant running back. Damian Harris, I believe, is out. or he has been injured. And then you got really not a true number one receiver on that team. N'Keal Harry was obviously supposed to be that, but he has not panned out at all. So this team is doing it. This team is cooking. And I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah, like I alluded to earlier, I mean, really over the last 7 games, they've been pretty hot. I know that they lost to the Cowboys, they lost to the Bucks, but they were mighty competitive in those losses. And honestly, I was more impressed in those games that they lost than even some of the ones that they won, because they didn't have the cleanest win over the Texans. They didn't have the cleanest win. Who they play before the Panthers? I can't even remember right now. But yeah, they're looking great. Mac Jones is. I'm not going to say that he's like pushing Jamar Chase for offensive rookie of the year right now, but if he leads the Patriots to the playoffs, I mean, there's definitely a case to be made for Mac Jones, offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Mac Jones right now is trending up, and Jamar Chase, if I can speak, is trending down right now. His past couple games haven't been quite as good. Obviously, doesn't play this week because of the bye week. But you'd like to see him continue on that pace that he was on, because over 1,500 yards. Are you kidding me? That's electric out of a rookie receiver. Yeah. But yeah, Mac Jones is giving him a run for his money, I think.
100%. Patriots are looking like they know how to evaluate quarterbacks, huh? Who would have thought?
They're looking like they're well coached or something.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wild. All right.
Concept.
Let's talk about my Packers some more, shall we? The Green Bay Packers have the best defense in the league. Sound the fucking alarms. The Green Bay Packers have the best defense in the NFL.
There we go.
No, honestly, it's honestly, I'm speechless because I've never quite seen anything like this. I never thought I would be able to experience a good, decent Packers like team or defense rather. But no, they are shutting teams down, and they're doing it without their best 2 defenders in Zadarius Smith and Jair Alexander. Rashawn Gary is now going to be, I don't know if he's going to be out. He's going to try and play with the sling, but he had an hyperextended elbow. So they're injury riddled right now, and they're still doing it all on defense, going and holding Kyler Murray to 21 points, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions at home, holding Patrick Mahomes to his worst start other than the Super Bowl really in his career. Only had 1 touchdown in that game, but really got outplayed by Jordan Love in some aspects. And then holding the Seahawks and Russell Wilson to 0 points first time in his career. I know he's coming off the injury, and I know that he was not playing at 100%.
He was rusty.
He's rusty. He was rusty.
Yeah.
Rusty.
Oh,
puns.
That was good.
But that was impressive as ever. The fact that they held him to 0 points. I don't remember the last time I watched the Packers shut out a team, if I ever did. I know I saw on the broadcast that they shut out the Lions in 2018. I have no recollection of that because I erased that season. Yeah. It's the Lions one, and I erased the 27 and 2018 seasons from my memory because those seasons that Aaron Rodgers got hurt. But yeah, it's just great time watching this defense from what we were to what we become now. Who would have thought Joe Barry, the 0-16 Lions head coach, would be leading us right now? Who would have thought?
Yeah, I mean, especially because you were shitting on him earlier in the season.
Yeah, I really
like absolutely livid with him. I remember that.
Do you think he listened to the podcast?
100%. He made some changes. He was like, "I'm pissing Luke off. Can't keep on."
I think he listened to the owner of the team. Absolutely. I mean, how could he not?
Yeah.
When the owner speaks, you listen. Yeah, so
I'm paying the bills.
Obviously, he had to listen to this podcast to listen.
Luke's keeping the lights on.
Yeah, for sure.
But the Packers do have a very good defense. I can't argue it. Obviously, they're playing extremely well. Devondre Campbell, as we've talked about many a times, is playing extremely well. And with all the injuries too, they look really, really, really good. Hoping gets a lot of their guys back going forward in the second half of the season. And it's just going to be crazy from there because you start getting guys back and the team gets better. I think that if I were to pick a team right now, like your last takeaway, you were saying nobody is definitive, like they are Super Bowl bound or anything like that. I think if the Packers start getting their pieces back, I would say they're the one team that I could really see making a good run right now and be confident in that choice.
Yeah, I really hadn't watched Eric Stokes. I hadn't watched a lot of Packers games. I mean, he's really good. Really, he was step for step with Tyler Lockett, and Tyler Lockett is not an easy receiver to keep on your hip. I mean, that guy is shifty as ever, and he's fast as hell. So I got to give him credit. This is probably the best corner class I've seen come out in a while.
Yeah.
With Pat Surtain and Eric Stokes.
Greg Newsome.
Yeah, Greg Newsome again. He's been another one that's been phenomenal.
JC Horn, yep.
Yeah. So this corner class has been really good. It sucks that Caleb Farley got injured. I believe he tore his ACL a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I mean the Eric Stokes looked great, and Devondre Campbell. I mean, that speaks for itself.
Yeah. I like that game. It was a fun one to watch. By the way, hold on.
Kevin King got an interception. Do you want to talk about that?
I don't want to talk about that.
I just want to say he very clearly dropped that.
He did. Gage, I was pissed.
I think he had possession before.
Before
he dropped it.
He was
that holding call.
He was coming out.
The phantom holding call to take the field goal. Take the
holding call where the guy got ran over.
Yeah,
how was you can hold on when you're getting blown over, I don't know.
That was a rough one. I will definitely give you that one.
Shout out AJ Dillon though.
Oh, shout out AJ Dillon. I love me some AJ Dillon.
Yeah,
I just picked him up in fantasy earlier that day.
Aaron Jones, he's out for the season, right?
No, only 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Yeah. I thought he was
it's an MCL sprain, 1 to 2 weeks.
MCL
they have
sprain.
Yeah, they have the bye week in 3 weeks. Yeah. So he's going to be back for the game against the Bears on December 12th. So
all I saw was MCL. So I assume the worst.
Yeah. So it looked bad too. Same thing with Rashawn Gary. But I think Rashawn Gary will be playing this week. So they
AJ Dillon's more than capable though. You guys.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. By the way, Jake, I'm very excited and I'm looking very much forward to this video on your TikTok, talking about the greatest player of all time.
Jesus.
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my gosh.
I cannot wait. All right, guys.
He did throw an interception to Jamal Adams.
That was let's talk about that. That was the
which boy got his
worst. Pick. Oh my God. To give it to that's when I knew that the Seahawks were definitely losing to, is when he did the belt. And Aaron Rodgers talked about it on the Pat McAfee show. It was pretty funny, but when you mock the belt, like historically, teams just don't win those games. And he takes that shit to heart for some reason, which all right. Anyways, overtime app
by letting AJ Dillon run in 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And one more thing. Anybody that says Jamal Adams sucks, go watch that game. He played great in that game.
Played great.
He played well.
I mean, listen, I was excited for him that he got his first, but
oh my God, I jumped off my couch when I saw it was him. I was like, holy shit, thank God the monkey's off his back.
Terrible throw by Aaron Rodgers, though. That was probably the worst throw.
It was bad.
Worst throw of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to go download the Overtime app. It supports us all here at the Totally Unqualified podcast. It is sports meets social media. They have posts, they have polls, they have different games every single day of the week. Make sure to go download it using our link in any of our TikTok bios, any of the Totally Unqualified bios. It helps us, supports us to help bring you more content. So yeah, make sure to go download the Overtime app. We love them at Overtime. We love those Overtime boys. All right. Moving on to our next segment. So we have a plethora of free agents to become this season. I'm going to name a few. I want you guys to tell me, should they re-sign with their team, or should they decline all their options and head into free agency? Are you boys ready?
Ready.
All right, Jake, we're going to start with you. Allen Robinson, free agent coming up.
Fucking decline it. Fucking decline it. Jesus Christ. I don't want to see this man in a Bears uniform ever again.
Yeah.
The talent that this guy has wasted on this team is ridiculous. Get the fuck out of Chicago. Go somewhere else. Anywhere else. I think the Texans might use you better. That's how bad Chicago is. This man hasn't had a 100-yard game all season. He's been terrible. He has not been terrible. He's not been targeted. That's the issue. And when he has been targeted, it's been a terrible ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a feel for him. He's in his prime. You don't want to see any receiver in the prime have a wasted season. And that's what's happening to Allen Robinson right now. Decline it for dear God. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Decline it. Hear me out. Allen Robinson in a Patriots jersey.
No.
Ooh.
I like it.
I mean,
I think that would be a
yes.
good fit. Mac Jones gets another weapon. You know what I mean? As
And
far as Allen Robinson
quarterback.
goes.
And he finally
Yeah,
had a
exactly.
Yeah, fucking decline that shit. 30 receptions for 339 yards. Are you kidding me? We can't get this guy the ball, Matt Nagy. What the fuck does Matt Nagy do there? I need to know. I need to know how he gets his paychecks because I don't think he does anything. I think I do
We
more.
haven't talked about him in a little while. I think people are tired of just beating the dead horse with Matt
No,
Nagy
we need a
because
weekly.
I haven't been hearing anything.
We need a weekly Matt Nagy hate session on this podcast.
Yeah.
He needs to get out of Chicago. He should have never went to Chicago. You know where I like him? How about a little reunion down in old Jacksonville, Florida?
Ooh,
Pair up there. You know,
that would help.
Pair up there with Trevor Lawrence. Laviska Shenault could get some more targets out of the slot. I mean, DJ Chark is going to come back healthy. James Robinson, he's a little beat up right now, and Travis Etienne comes back in that offense. I mean,
Could be good.
Surrounding your star quarterback or soon to be star quarterback with talent there. I don't hate that.
I think the Raiders are probably the top destination I'm looking at right now for Allen Robinson. He'd just be a perfect fit. They need a clear-cut number one receiver after, the Henry Ruggs incident. And I think that's evident now more than ever. And I think Allen Robinson.
And Allen Robinson seems well behaved. So
yeah. Yes, he does.
And Allen Robinson is not Devontae Adams, which is, even better. So, all right, guys. Chandler Jones has a contract coming up. He's been a little beat up in the past couple of years. Gage, should he resign or decline?
I think with the direction that the Cardinals are heading, obviously they are contenders as of right now. Cliff Kingsbury has coached that team up very well. Like a lot of people were not expecting him to. The offense is solid. The defense has been solid. JJ Watt being injured and out the rest of the season obviously is a big blow and kind of sucks. But I mean, I don't see any reason why not to stay with them. I would if I were him. I don't know where he would go from here that would be any better of an option.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think he should resign. The Cardinals look like they're in the Super Bowl window. So if he wants to win another one, I believe he won one with the Patriots, maybe two.
If you played for the Patriots, there's a good chance that you probably.
Yeah, you probably won one. We're forgetting that there was like a 10-year gap in between Tom Brady's Super Bowls. Like there was a 10-year gap where the Patriots just did not win one. And that feels like forever ago. I definitely think he should re-sign with this team. I don't know where else. I mean, maybe the Chiefs would offer him more money. The Chiefs could definitely use somebody like him.
Yeah.
Chiefs could use any defensive presence really, but I don't know if the cap space makes sense there. But other than that, I don't see why he'd be in any rush to leave Arizona as they are right now.
I mean, in complete agreement with you guys. The Super Bowl window is open, and it's going to be open for probably the next 3 to 4, probably even longer. I mean, Kyler Murray, he's only going to get better. He's only in year 3 now, and he's already leading his team with like relatively, I'd say, low expectations, especially in what we thought was going to be the most competitive division in football in the NFC West. He's leading that team.
They've still got several guys on rookie contracts too. So, I mean, you've got a little bit of money to spend with him.
They're set.
I think now would be the time to do it.
They're set. Gotta resign. You got JJ Watt in there. You recruited him for a reason. And that reason wasn't just this one and done season. That was, going forward. You two are going to be the guys there. If he doesn't resign, I think an interesting team actually it might be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that they have Alex Highsmith. I know that they tried Melvin Ingram experiment that didn't really work out. I think he'd work out there. I mean, him and TJ Watt. Yeah. I mean, could you imagine how JJ Watt would feel? Like, oh shit, my little brother's getting better than me now. He's recruiting guys better than I can.
Bound to happen at some point.
Yeah. You ain't wrong. But yeah, Steelers, if not the Cardinals. So let's talk about an actual Steeler. Let's talk about Juju Smith-Schuster. Jake, resign or decline?
I don't see any reason for him to resign. I don't see any reason for him to decline. There's really Juju's in a situation where It sucks with Juju too, because we all thought he was going to be this number one receiver after Antonio Brown. He was going to take the throne from Antonio Brown. And I mean, it looked like he had the talent early in his career. I just don't know what happened. I really don't like it. It just, he doesn't seem like the same player. He's kind of relegated to not even a wide receiver 2. I think he's more of a wide receiver 3 at this point. And so really he can go anywhere. I imagine the Steelers aren't going to offer him a ton of money. So I think this actually might end up being his last year in Pittsburgh. But as for whether he should sign or decline, I think he'll go where the money is.
Yeah, I like what you said, that the Steelers probably won't offer him a lot of money, because I don't know that they'll offer him any money, honestly. Yeah. Like, they kept him just for the sake of kind of keeping the team together as much as they could, I think, because they offered him that 1-year deal for not a whole lot of money to begin with.
$8 million.
Yeah, and I think that he kind of understands that as well now. That's why he was as emotional as he was when he did get injured and was talking about, how he's going to be out for the season and everything, because I think that he knows that this is kind of it. But I still think that he's got some left in the tank. I think that he could be a viable option, even if it's not as a wide receiver 1 or anything like that, on another team that's wide receiver needy. I mean, you look at the Lions, you look at, the Texans could use another guy after Brandon Cooks. I don't necessarily want him, but as bad as we need a receiver right now, if he was on the team healthy, he would help us out a ton. So there's plenty of places that he could go. And I think that, like Jake said, he'll probably follow the money.
I think career-wise, I think it's definitely best to move on from the Steelers. Like you said, Jake, he's probably is the wide receiver 3 there. And really, maybe the wide receiver 4. I know James Washington isn't getting looked at a lot, but I think James Washington is as talented as any of them there in Pittsburgh. I think definitely career-wise, the best option is to go elsewhere to a wide receiver needy team. Maybe the Detroit Lions, who literally is playing like my uncle at wide receiver. He started for them last week. Crazy. Yeah. I think he needs to probably move on for Pittsburgh, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Pittsburgh like offer him something to sort of have like his like redemption type season, because I feel like Juju is a Pittsburgh guy now. I think he is loved by the organization, loved by the team, loved by all his teammates.
Locker room kind of guy.
Yeah, locker room guy. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them re-sign him on like a relatively low contract, like he's just signed this past season, 1 year, $8 million. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in the black and yellow. But listen, I think definitely career-wise, you got to move on, because I don't think there's any room to grow there as a wide receiver if you're not getting targeted. So moving on, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger Gage, sign or decline?
I mean, I don't see any reason not to. You know what I mean? On both sides of that, I think that the team obviously needs him as much as they're struggling on the defensive side of the ball right now. I think that he's obviously very comfortable there, having won a Super Bowl with the team, and he knows the defense and knows what they're capable of doing. I think that he just needs some better pieces around him to really help him out. Now, say that doesn't happen this season, or like going into next season, they don't put anybody around him and he's still kind of dealing with what they've been dealing with thus far this season. He might not be as keen on re-signing with them. But with that being said, for the Chiefs, you want to keep a guy like that around. But at this point, where are you going to get the money from? You're paying Patrick Mahomes a ton, especially after this season. You're paying Travis Kelce. You've got a guy like Tyreek Hill. You've got a bunch of guys that are in need of a payday. And I don't know. I just don't know if they're going to be able to hold on to Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah, that's kind of where my mindset is. I don't think this is Tyrann Mathieu's decision to make, really. He's getting up there in age. He has taken a step down in terms of his play. If you asked me, he hasn't been the same Honey Badger type guy. It kind of looks like he's lost a step. So I really don't know if this is up to him. I think if he were offered money, he would definitely stay in Kansas City. I think he really found a home there. I think he really likes it there. And he is unequivocally the leader of that defense. But if Kansas City decides to move in a different direction because the money simply isn't there, I honestly wouldn't be that surprised.
Last offseason, Tyrann Mathieu and the Kansas City Chiefs couldn't come to an agreement on an extension. And right now it's looking like, according to fannation.com, the most reliable source out there, according to them, they're projecting him to get a 4-year, $62.25 million contract, which would be the largest safety contract in NFL history. So if Tyrann Mathieu is projected to become the highest paid safety in NFL history, there's no shot the Kansas City Chiefs could compete with that. There's no shot. Unless Tyrann is locked into this team, unless he is set on being the leader of this defense for years to come, which I think he is the definitive leader of that defense right now. I know you have some other guys like Frank Clark, Chris Jones out there, but I think pretty clearly the identity of this defense runs through Tyrann Mathieu. I guess it's all really just dependent on whether or not he's going to take less money to stay with the Chiefs or more money somewhere else. I would tend to think that Tyrann Mathieu is a little bit more of a journeyman at this point, and he's going to move on. Money. Yeah.
I kind of like him, and this might not be as popular. I kind of like him on the Eagles. Like, I don't know if that's a move that he would want to make, but adding him to that secondary, along with like how Darius Slay has been playing this season, I think that could be a great fit.
I mean, yeah. Wait, and Malcolm Jenkins is not there anymore. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? What am I talking about?
Maybe the Titans are desperate for some defensive help.
Well, him alongside Byard.
That'd be a good duo right there.
Huh. All right. Let's talk about some a little Tampa Bay Buccaneers action. Chris Godwin, with all the wide receivers that they have in that room right now. Jake, I'm gonna go to you. Sign or decline, if I could speak. Jesus.
If you are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you are definitely trying to sign this man because he is going. I don't know if you're going to be able to though, because he's going to get wide receiver 1 money because that's what he is. He's a wide receiver 1, and I don't think the Bucs are going to be able to pay him. Now, the only reason I could see him staying there is because he knows they're Super Bowl contenders, and if he wants to, ring chase a little bit. Then I could see him taking, maybe a 1-2 year deal with them and then go out and get his money. But I feel like he's in a position where he can secure that bag for his career. He can secure that bag for, his family, his grandchildren will be taken care of. His great grandchildren will probably be taken care of. This man's going to be a wide receiver 1 somewhere. So I think for his best interest, I think he should decline whatever offer. I'm sure it'll be a pretty hefty offer from the Bucs. I think he'll get more money elsewhere, and I think he should decline the Bucs offer and go be somewhere else. He's got his ring. Now you can go, be the star somewhere.
It's very similar to the Juju situation that we just talked about. Like, he's a wide receiver in a room that's full of talented wide receivers, and he's a guy that came back on a 1-year deal, didn't decide to opt in as far as taking money elsewhere because he wanted to go for that back-to-back, that repeat potential, going back to the Super Bowl and winning another one, which I can't really blame him for. But seeing him do that again, another season with as many guys just like the Steelers as the Bucs have to pay and stuff like that, I just can't see them, 1, bringing him back, and 2, him wanting to come back for little to no money as far as what he's worth. I agree with Jake. I think that he ends up somewhere else, and I think that would be the right move for him to end up somewhere else and definitely get paid a whole lot more.
Yeah, I think for the best interest of himself, and more importantly, the best interest of the Green Bay Packers, who I am now a proud owner of, I think it's best that he leaves Tampa Bay. Now, like, in all seriousness, though, Mike Evans is the bona fide number 1 there, even though I think Chris Godwin's playing like the number 1 there. Really in most of their games. I think Mike Evans is pretty clearly that guy moving forward. He's been as reliable as any receiver really since he got drafted in 2014. I think that Tom Brady has a lot of trust in Antonio Brown. And I think if Tom Brady is going to be there moving forward, which at this point doesn't look like he's ever going to fucking retire, I think Antonio Brown is going to be the guy that he wants there. And I think you could get Antonio Brown for a much cheaper contract than Chris Godwin is going to warrant. So I think Chris Godwin is going to get number 1 money. Definitely this offseason, just whatever team wants to dish it out, whatever wide receiver needy team like the Detroit Lions, who I keep mentioning. I think he's probably going to leave the Bucs this season or after this season. And Scotty Miller too is another guy that Tom Brady seems to trust, sort of that Julian Edelman role.
Position. They've got Scotty Miller. They've got Tyler Johnson.
Tyler
who's had
Johnson,
his flashes as well. So even though those guys might not quite be Chris Godwin level, they've got plenty of talent there.
Yeah, and it's a good wide receiver class too. I mean, Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson. I mean, there's guys
Chris
that
Olave,
you could.
future Saint.
Ooh, I don't know. He might be coming to Green Bay. We might have to.
You guys can fight over Jahan Dotson all you want. It's my guy. I can't. I'm gonna be so biased when this draft comes out. Like when
he's gonna be so good. He's gonna be so good,
guys. He's doing this with such. I don't want to. I'm not allowed. It's in my intern handbook that I'm not allowed to talk bad about Penn State athletics. He's doing it with not the best quarterback throwing him the ball. Let's just say that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Not the most accurate quarterback that I've ever seen throwing him the deep ball. He's been open. He would probably have 500 more yards. I'm not kidding you. He would have had 3 60-yard touchdowns in that Wisconsin game if he had been thrown a more accurate ball. So this is a guy that would have 300 to 400 more yards if he just had a better quarterback. He is, I never thought I'd say this because KJ Hamler is the best receiver I saw at Penn State, and he was insane. He is better than KJ Hamler, and it's not even close. Like, he's got the hands, he's got the route running, he's got the speed. He can juke you out of tomorrow. Like, he is so good. Olave and Garrett Taylor are both really good players too. And then you got David Bell up at Purdue, who's just dominant. The Big Ten is, I know everybody's like SEC is wide receiver land. The Big Ten's dominating this receiver class, and it's not even close.
Yeah. It's honestly insane over the past few years, just how many like talented NFL ready receivers we've been getting out of the draft. Like these guys are coming out of college onto the NFL field, and they are ready to go. We've got this season. We've got Jamar Chase. We've got Devontae Smith, who's been playing fairly well considering his situation. We've got Jalen Waddle, who has also been playing very well with, just a weird quarterback situation and a weird team. Like, these guys are good.
Yeah. He's on pace to break the rookie reception record this season. Is it safe to say Jahan Dotson, like, sort of reminds me of like a faster Rondale Moore in a sense? Like, they're small, they're shifty, they could get around.
Yes, he's a better wide receiver than Rondale Moore is. They're very similar players. Very similar players. Rondale Moore doesn't have the hands that Jahan Dotson. Like, Jahan Dotson can jump, like, has a vertical and go and can jump a little bit. He can go get a ball if he has to.
Yeah, I think they look similar on film.
They do.
Say,
they do.
So.
They are very similar. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Finally, moving on. It's the time. It's the moment all of the listeners have been waiting for. This Thursday night matchup between the New England Patriots, the Atlanta Falcons.
Super Bowl.
I'm never
rematch.
picking the Falcons again. I'm never picking the Falcons again. I'm never picking the Falcons again.
I don't know why you picked them anyway.
I don't know why I did either.
I don't. That was not the game to do it. That wasn't like.
No, they're bad. They're in my bad book again. Now they're back in the Vendetta. The Vendetta's back.
Watch them win this game now. Watch them win this game.
Yeah. Patriots -7.5. Gage, I'm going to start with you. Who do you got winning? Who's your player of the game? And what do you think the score is going to be?
I've got the Patriots winning this one. We've been talking highly of them pretty much the entire podcast at this point. They are going on a little bit of a run. They're getting hot at the right time. They're making it work with Mac Jones. The defense is absolutely insane. Bill Belichick is showing why he's one of the best coaches actually the best coach of all time. Excuse me. I misspoke there. But I definitely have them winning this one. I think that the score is going to be a little bit lopsided. I went with kind of a weird one again here. 38-12 is what I've got the score. And ended up being, not going to go with the 28-3 meme. Sorry, guys. I'm sure everybody was making it at home. But with that being said, my player of the game, I had a hard time making this decision. I was between two guys, and they're both actually on the defensive side of the ball. But I think I'm going to go with Matthew Judon.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. He's the leader of that defense now.
Yeah.
Maybe Jamie Collins now that he's back, but yeah.
Thursday night football games this year have been so fucking weird. Like, it was just exemplified in that Ravens-Dolphins game last week. Like, it almost feels like the team that's supposed to win just does not win. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's. I feel like there was a couple games like that this year on Thursday night football.
Is that your way of telling us that you're picking the Falcons?
I might be. I know I just raved about the Patriots and Mac Jones and how well they're playing, but like the Falcons, they they've shown they can like sneak up on a team. I mean, they played terrible last week. They played absolutely atrocious, but like
they can sneak up on a team.
They can. I don't know, man. This is tough. All right. Give me the Patriots in a very close game. I'm gonna take the Falcons to cover, though. I'm gonna take the Falcons to cover. And player of the game. Give me Hunter Henry.
All right. I'm never picking the Falcons again. I can't hate an NFL team. I don't hate an NFL team.
You do. You hate them. You do. You've shown that you hate them.
I strongly dislike the Atlanta Falcons this year specifically. So I'm going with the Patriots to cover -7.5 or -7. Sorry. The Patriots are on a hot streak, like you said, Gage. Mac Jones is playing some really good football right now. This defense is playing some even better football right now. They seem to be locked in. They seem to be ready to go on a run, and they're going to have to get this win here as they go on these next 4 weeks, playing 3 potential playoff teams, in the Bills, the Colts, and the Titans. They play the Bills twice, of course. So, yeah, give me the Patriots. Give me them to cover. Give me them. Let's go 31-14. New England Patriots win. And player of the game, how are you not going to pick Mac Jones? I thought I was going to have to think of, as I was going last year, I thought I was going to have to think of someone smart like a JC Jackson or maybe a Damian Harris. No, give me Mac Jones. The fuck? Come on. So, yeah, I got the Patriots winning. And with that being said, that is going to wrap it up for episode 35 of the Totally Unqualified podcast. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating and review. If you're listening to us or watching us rather on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. You know the deal.
Yeah, guys. And make sure to go follow us on all of our social medias. Extra Points for Gage, Jake Maltese 3 for me, and Football Fan Zone for Luke. And be sure to go follow us on our Totally Unqualified social media accounts as well, at Totally Unqualified Pod on Instagram, at Totally Unqualified on TikTok, and then, of course, Totally Unqualified on YouTube.
And as we said earlier in the podcast, if you do not have the Overtime app, we highly recommend it. You can, all the socials that Jake just listed, you can download the app at the link in any of those bios. It is there and it helps us out a ton. We really appreciate it. But we thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you in the next one.